Agents to the geologic cycle, as we indicated earlier, come from endogenic and exogenic sources. With the hydrological cycle and the atmospheric cycle being driven by the atmosphere, these are agents that are considered geomorphic. So what's going to happen with the hydrological cycle and the atmospheric cycle is that three things are going to motivate the change and transformation of a landscape. And water and air can erode a landscape, and we talked about these as hydrological and aeolian. Aeolian is wind. So we're going to erode that landscape, which particle by particle will take pieces of a rock structure away, or loosen them, pardon me, and make them available to be moved away. That moving away is the transportation of that from the original location to its depositional location. And then the third function is to deposit that material somewhere else. And in doing so, it starts to amass and create a new changed landscape. We're increasing volume in the depositional zone. We're decreasing material in the erosional zone. So next, the rock cycle then is the genesis or the creation of rocks, and we've already had a discussion on this. So igneous rocks are generated through the tectonic cycle. So we're talking about volcanology and bringing new matter up to the surface of the earth, either initially through volcanic cones or at a later date where igneous rock is solidified within the Earth's surface, and then the overburden of strata then erodes, immersing or emerging that new rock. Metamorphic rock is rock which has been transformed from a different state, and we gave you a few examples in a previous slide. And then the third is the sedimentary rock cycle, which is really all about the hydrological and the atmospheric cycle, where we're eroding material, transporting that material, and then redepositing it into a sedimentary rock. Lastly, the big endogenic driver is the tectonic cycle, which is building and bringing new material to the surface, and by taking old material and putting it back into the mantle or back into the asthenosphere. So we're putting stuff in, restructuring it through radioactive decay, and then re-emerging that matter. So that tectonic cycle is that rotational effect through the convective cells that we showed you some diagrams are. This new rock, as it's exposed to the surface of the earth, is now at liberty to be transformed by water and air cycles over time. So we're going to erode and transport and push that material into locations which are then going to be available to be re-entered into those convective cells within the asthenosphere. The rock cycle for igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks are all engaged in some way or another with exogenic and endogenic forces. Those exogenic forces are usually about the removal of matter, transportation of matter, and then deposition of matter to create a new rock. The interior forces are about relocating that rock, emerging new types of rock structures as igneous rock, or metamorphosizing rock to create new, more intrinsically significant rock forms. So that hydrological cycle and the atmospheric cycle, as we stated before, are all about eroding, moving, and transporting. But I want to underscore that water has a greater capability to do this than air does because it's got more mass to it. And it's also got the opportunity as a chemical itself to dissolve rock. Air can't dissolve things. It has no chemical ability to do that. Water also has the opportunity to phase change. So it can be transported to an area as liquid water through rainfall, or solid through snowfall, and then melt out or freeze out into another location. If it is melting out, it has the opportunity to do that dissolving agent. If it is freezing out, it will produce structural tension onto that rock through expansion, because we know from earlier discussion that that ice expands, and that expansion will produce tensile stress onto rocks, causing them to erode. So ice is exceptionally powerful in that regard. We also create more mass with ice. So greater mass has greater opportunity to do more work as well.